a small poll on how many of us were together in the Melting Pot version 1 last year. Okay, so that's about 25, 30. I must start by thanking you for continuing your support, and I'm very excited to see our journey gather mass, gather momentum, and I also, when I look at it closely, I also see that the quality of participation also, we have grown 10x from last year. So I think congratulations to our team. I merely end up getting a lot of credit, but a whole lot of work is done by the entire team. And I would like you to put your hands together for a round of applause for the team that has gone. And when I say the team, I also include the steering committee members, which includes Rishi, which includes Anindya from IIT Kanpur, Professor Rishikesh Krishnan. Since we know closely, we use the word Professor Rishikesh Krishnan. I am Indore director, Anindya Chatterjee, professor at IIT Kanpur, Professor Sadagopan, what are the names I'm missing? And they've been extremely supportive in our journey for the last almost 18 months since we conceptualized Melting Pot. And what I'm going to submit to you is that today we are surrounded with significant amount of wisdom, and I am merely trying to stay focused on making progress every day, every week, so that when we look back year after year, it looks like a significant progress. So I'm going to focus a lot more on nuts and bolts because of a couple of reasons which I will cover here. And I have been very mindful of the theme itself, is saying solving problems in India through innovation. I have not stopped at saying solving India's problem through innovation. I think the problem-solving location has been moving to India. It looks infinitesimally small in all the frustrations that we deal with as officers, entrepreneurs, policymakers, etc. But when we log out and log in after 3 years, people, those friends of ours who go out and come back, they find the change quite significant. I'm sure you agree with me. I'm going to start with...
Innovation has been the only enabler of the emergence of regions and countries.
This is where we started last year. Can we go back? And I'm wanting us to revise. We started with a very conceptual framework for us to be led by about 12 months ago. I want us to look at where we started, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of a progress report and where we plan to head over the next 3 years.
Innovation has been the only enabler of the emergence of regions and countries over the past many centuries. Innovation collaboration between corporations and institutions had played a major role in the emergence of Europe, USA, and now Asia. Worldwide Academia Industry Network, or WAIN, brings together a host of stakeholders who play a crucial role in creating a fertile innovation ecosystem. On one hand, universities and schools form an important part of the WAIN system with a huge supply of youth and innovation talent. On the other hand, corporations bring in their own expertise of innovation along with the demand for innovation, projects, funding, experienced mentors, and even CSR resources where necessary. And in between academia and industry are the other components that will enable this network to incubate innovation. A corporate projects office is dedicated to generate live projects in the network, while the licensing office brings in the expertise to monetize the IP created in any part of WAIN. The IP patent attorney members bring in the strategic value of IP protection for all relevant innovators. WAIN includes industry bodies, edu-promoting societies, NGOs that help evangelize innovation and entrepreneurship across the globe. Entrepreneurs, angels, investors are all integral to the platform and will enable easy access to capital and mentorship. Government labs, departments, schemes, and initiatives are a part of the WAIN system too. The WAIN members also benefit from other privileges such as talent recruitment, fellowships, consulting, enhancing digital persona, innovation networking, and learning from other WAIN members' expertise. Welcome to WAIN, a worldwide network aiming at 1 million innovators by 2020 who are solving the social needs in a sustainable and rewarding manner. Come, let's make it happen for a better tomorrow.
So it I'm sure is a repetition for many of you. However, this is something that I would have referred to and seen 1,000 times in the last 1 year, because this conceptual model has to be made real. And to do that, the various bubbles that need to be filled in with experts in that area, we need to bring them onto the platform so that the focus continues to remain on the young entrepreneur inside a university, or could be a young innovator inside a large corporation, or a startup who has no resources but a cubicle in an incubation center. And how can he leverage a very powerful, very potent ecosystem for him to keep going ahead? So translating this vision into the reality is what we are doing. And there is a reference to something that Professor Gadi might make in his conversation, where he talks about the garbage can concept, where we don't want to be solving a problem where it doesn't exist, which means this approach, this effort must solve the problem of each one of us here in the room who is a potential stakeholder. So my submission to you is, if any pain point of yours is not getting addressed, is not getting magnified enough, or you think it can be made better, I would love to hear from you so that we include it in our agenda for execution over the next year. And this is a little bit of a progress that we've made in the last 12 months. It just gives you how we have populated the universities with some very reputed universities now, how we are looking at corporates with some early successes. Some of them names are missing because we still don't have the permission to use their brands. How we are bringing in investment partners. Today, I'll share a little bit with you. How are we reaching the higher education institution through an EPSI as a society? How Anand and Anand, the leading patent and IP attorneys, are now on the platform in their consulting role. How we've been able to bring someone like T-Hub and maybe a few more from the institutions. How do we aim to bring the alumni to bear upon this in various forms, mentoring, funding, and if it is valid for your institution, we would love to do that. Learning, training. We hope to bring experts in every area to come and be a part of the ecosystem, and then while they progress towards their goals, they help the entire ecosystem and every member there, and the heart of it, in my view, is this magician called innovator. If we can make that happen, and I think it'll be a wonderful journey. Today we are very fortunate that we have, like Arjuna had a very tall stalwarts as gurus to guide him, we are surrounded by very wise, very tall-statured gurus around us who have seen it, who have seen very closely the way some of the developed economies progressed between 60s to 90s, who have seen the transitions from the early stage that Mohan was talking about of IIT Kanpur, the computer lab, to where it is now. But by taking all of that, a lot of us, and this is one room where I find myself to be young. Today, when I go back to CL Educate, I'm among the older guys in the organization. But some place like this makes me feel more like an Arjuna than the Bhishma. But the job that we have is perhaps be very attentive And each one of them is here in the hall. And we are so blessed to be able to bring their wisdom, their knowledge, and their passion to give back to the society. And in my view, entrepreneurship has always been a journey where you give unconditionally to the society. And society is so overwhelmed that each member of the society comes back and leaves something on the table, and you take that and continue your virtuous cycle. We are very fortunate to be here, and you will hear all of them talk about the larger picture, the big picture, the strategic views that we need to take, and what to do at the nuts and bolts. If we take them in, and if we are executionists par excellence, I think we increase the chances of accelerating towards the inevitable that the other films spoke about in the morning. What is the purpose? What is the purpose of Melting Pot or Wayne Connect? In my view, when underconfident to come up here and present in English kind of a student from a faraway university, he accesses whatever he wants to convert his idea into an executed project, innovation, and some corporate discovers him or an investor discovers him and he brings value to the society. I think that's the heart of this entire initiative. Democratizing opportunity for every child, every youth in the world. And India, perhaps, is our first massive, of course, innovation sandbox. It's the biggest innovation sandbox that you can imagine. But even then, even within India, there's a reason why we moved Melting Pot from Delhi to Hyderabad. We want to move a few things in Hyderabad this year. Can we take it to a Bangalore next year? Which means even India is a collection of maybe 4 or 5 innovation sandboxes. And can we take roots in each place, make a deep impact by bringing all the collaborators, all the stakeholders to come onto this democratized platform. That's the purpose. Let each person focus on his or her best capabilities. I think our life is finite. The greatest handicap that I always find as an entrepreneur is not that I am short on money in the bank, I have only 24 hours in a day. And that's true for each one of us. If that's the case, if the Weizmann Institute of Science or a Stanford Incubation Center or some other university called Fudan that I visited a few years ago in China, if you find something phenomenal in that place, can we get that to bear upon our effort? If I find someone in some place, can we bring that person onto the platform so that everybody else need not become him or her, but can cross-leverage strengths and go towards the purpose? That's an important thing. And like I said, impacting at the grassroots, the society is the only way any entrepreneurship has been sustainable, and you need to do it all the time. That's what we will focus on. A little bit of a progress report. This is what one needs looking at so that it's not sloganeering and going away. I'm measuring the progress that I am making or we are making. This is where we were last year. So if somebody were to ask me, Satya, how would you define that we are progressing? I would say, okay, one very audacious goal, sir, that we took was that can we make 1 million entrepreneurs, innovators, researchers benefit from the platform? What's the outcome? We will measure. It always is going to be a mixed bag of successes. But what are the 4 or 5 things that we are likely to, we will look at? I'm saying, how many innovators are there on the platform? Number 2, I'm sure you're aware of it. There was a research report in 2010, it must have come many times later as well, which said that 6 out of the 10 most sought after jobs of 2010 did not exist in 2004. And if we take that every decade, chances are that it's been true for the last 100 or 200 or 500 years. Which means, while we innovate, while we create knowledge, we also need to make sure those skills are moving out and youngsters are able to pick up those skills. And that itself is a massive job. We are saying that, can we do that? Number 3, what is the knowledge creation in a measurable way? Papers published. School children are going to conferences abroad. 9th grade children 10th grade children? Can we make that happen? How many IPs are getting registered? What is the patent progress that we are making? That's the third one. Number 4, we would want this platform to be able to bring money and put it on the table for institutions, researchers, innovators, again, to not worry about money. It's a very small start. We started with an intent last year. We made a small progress. We want to progress there. And this could go in the form of scholarships, in the form of junior innovator fellowships, senior research fellowships. Anything that the corporate wants to come up with, we're saying we'll make it happen. It'll be a transparent dashboard where you can see the beneficiary, you can connect with him, you can go and do whatever you want to do, you can do. Because, you know, India is the first country that has legally given CSR a mandate. You need to do it. On an average, in the US is 1% of PAT. We have done 2% of PAT. That adds up to about 16,000 crores. Every CEO in this country has reached there by dint of his effort, hard work, and education. We have a natural benefit there. 33 to 40% of CSR money is going into education. Can we get that to come here and impact this? We're going to look at. Last is, how many are getting to market? We want to focus on that. That's where innovation is. So education moves to research, moves to innovation, moves to market and impact, and then its success hopefully comes and funds one of these things. So these are some of the things that we are measuring ourselves with. I'm sticking my neck out and saying, I think even if we fail this, it will not be something that we need to be ashamed of, but I'm putting it out there and we will look at it. Where I'm saying 1 million entrepreneurs, 100,000 new skills that we want to, when I say this, I'm talking about many of these things that we are hearing for the first time in the last 6 months, a year or 2 years. Can we create a very high quality IP and patent regime and reach those numbers? Can we bring about 100 crores? It's a very small figure. That's not even 1% of just the CSR budget. I'm not counting the marketing budget, which is, digital innovation is very central part of the marketing head's pain. I'm not counting the R&D budgets. I'm just talking about 100 crores can we bring in and democratize it, which means I will give it blindly, just based on the quality of the student. Eminent people form the jury, they approve, and the money it gets transferred. Last evening, some very moving examples that Shoumya was giving of what he does at IIT Bombay. And if that bright child who gets to IIT Bombay, if she has to drop out because she doesn't have a couple of lakhs of rupees, I think it's a bit of a shame on all of us. Or if we do it, I would want to stay with a positive script. If we do it, it's a matter of deep satisfaction for all of us. So that's 2020. 2018, we want to get there. One of the key tasks that we are putting, which is a new initiative, is, and you will see focus on how do we learn from Israel as an ecosystem. We have a session today. Next one entire year, with the help of a lot of Israeli experts and our own academicians, entrepreneurs, CEOs who have reasonable amount of experience on the Israel front. Can we bring them all together to learn and make a couple of success stories before 2018 Melting Pot is one of the immediate goals, but I think there is a lot, in my view, that we can do with each other as two countries. That is one of the things that I'm kind of putting on the table. We will expand it after this has become successful over the next year or two. So 17, this is where we are today. Last year we had 800 innovators on the platform. Today on the Wayne Connect, you have 13,600 innovators. We have done about 4,000 new skills and new universities kind of trainings in the last 1 year. About 100 plus papers, publishing, etc. We have done. We have put them out. Couple of patents. You will see one or two of those being presented by the professors or innovators today and tomorrow. Funding score is still 0. Hopefully, we will make our debut and enable a couple of entrepreneurs over the next 12 months. We are creating a democratized platform for funding. It's called the Wayne India Fund, where the beneficiaries can put out their what they need. Corporates can come and choose what they want to fund. Hopefully, this is something that we will succeed in, but we will stay very close and do hands-on curation of this. We are talking to CEOs personally, and some of them have been extremely supportive. These are some of the ideas that we are pursuing. Some of these ideas have come from people sitting here. For instance, some very exciting thing that I got to hear, sir, from Anindya. Is Anindya here? Professor Anindya Chatterjee, IIT Kanpur. He said, Satya, can we put together a faculty travel fellowships where if we can create a list of 20-25 well-renowned faculty members globally, and they need to come. If they're teaching at a institute in Indore or Bangalore or Chennai or Calcutta, this institution can take care of his or her stay, etc. But if we can put together a travel fellowships where their travel is taken care of, I thought it was a very simple but brilliant idea that can enable capacity building. Is an important task that we have. The moment we know what is to be done, and those who have done it, been there, they come and guide us, it can be very powerful. So, bunch of things. We already are finding support from the corporate side. We are talking about raising in all about 20 crores this year and channelizing it into different application areas, including skills, research and innovations, which has further subparts, faculty and academics. It could be curriculum design. It could be going online for some universities. And education fee support, like the one that we were having a conversation with a senior dean at IIT Bombay. So, some examples of our early progress. We have approximately 3,000-4,000 scholarships, fellowships, commitments from corporates. You will hear more about it, and all of these would go. For example, the HDFC Capital is talking about doing, they are a $1.5 billion real estate fund, and they're talking about smart homes using civil tech. And they are saying that it will be a challenge which will be funded by them. Departments of civil engineering and there and thereabouts, anyone can participate. The top 25 will have a way to do a bunch of things and scholarships and so on. Your Nest is giving scholarships on IoT. HDFC has already committed, the parent entity, 500 scholarships from their CSR for children wanting to pursue engineering. There is a PSU, we don't yet have the formal approval on paper, wanting to give 2,500 scholarships for students inside engineering colleges wanting to pursue research and innovation, and the pilot is going to happen this year and they will scale that. We have also put our own CSR money into this for senior research fellowships in leading institutions for PhD students. And whatever they get as their research money from the institution, can we subsidize that or can we supplement that? That is something that we are wanting to do. So that brings me to the end of my session. As I mentioned, this is a collective effort. I just have stuck my neck out and said, let's do it. Some parts of it might look audacious. Some parts of it might look ridiculous. Some parts of it might look irrelevant. However, please feel free at home. Walk up, WhatsApp, tell us what better we can do, and we'll be absolutely delighted to be as close to the bullseye as possible every moment that we are putting our efforts. Thank you very much.